Alrighty, on to round two with an obvious mole. My opponent run the die roll again and is playing first again, which is actually okay since I just want to draw cards, as long as my opponent's not super duper aggressive. I guess we got to keep here. We got 3 lands. We have a Stay Alive card and some removal spells, or a removal spell and a finisher. Can't cast 2 of the spells, but it's going to be our deck for quite a while. And the fact that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of our 5 colors is super duper fantastic. Opponent does have red, though. That can get a little bit scary. We get more lands out, and it does mean that soon I have the Mardu Charm available, which actually means I might have wanted to play one of my other dual lands first. Don't need green for anything anytime soon, whereas I might want to have, my red, my white, and my black out. And here is a Mardu player. This might get scary. Still not much to do at the moment. I don't think I want to use my Force Away, so I'll still just develop the mana base. Next turn I might play the Swamp to get the Monastery Flock down, which I'm looking to draw into more spells, or more creatures, so I'll probably just trade the Flock for the Mardu Hateblade. If this is a dedicated warrior deck, then, that's fine. And right now, opponent doesn't have black, so could be okay. Yeah, I definitely need some defense. I don't want to take 4 this turn. Might make a trade with the Warname Aspirant. Not too sure. We'll see. So we put a removal spell. Go for a tempo removal hit. Not too sure. I'm down to make the trade. I am light on creatures, but we have some draw, and I'm not going to have too much pressure for my opponent. So let's just trade off. I have a removal spell for anything super scary. Opponent has a feeder resistance, so we get to protect ourselves, get a really premium combat trick out of hand. Does mean we're taking 5 next turn, but it gives us a good chance to stabilize my opponent's not developing the board. And we even got a fantastic 3-drop drawn. So that was just an amazing draw, to be honest, since we can actually cast it right away. Yeah, I don't get the raid trigger, but that's fine. 2/3 is good, keeps the Hateblade down. Doesn't block the Warname Aspirant. That's probably going to take the Mardu Charm when I untap next turn. Opponent's stuck on mana, it would seem. Nope. Well, maybe just missing a black splash or something. Lead Master will be an issue, but we actually have pretty decent ways to deal with that. We'll just keep the defense up. Probably do a Mardu Charm on my opponent's turn. But we might be able to get my opponent with like a Mardu Charm 2 warriors, or maybe just do a Wee Fate soon. Not too sure. I'm not playing the Mystic, though. Even though I do want creatures out, I have to do a removal spell here, I think, with the Warname Aspirant. Oh, my opponent's going for the flying thing. So if that's the case, yeah, let's just go ahead and Mardu Charm this dude, because then we're on a way lesser clock. My opponent can be doing 2 to me a turn, that's fine. Not a big deal there, since we're at 16 life now. And we're going to just continue to develop our board. Still going to keep the blocking for the Mardu Hateblade and making my opponent use mana on Leaping Master. Still not going to play the Mystics. I can just untap and play it hardcore next turn, whereas I'd rather just get the Wee Fate out and possibly the Force Away if something scary goes down. Opponent is spending mana on the flying. We have ways to deal with flyers. Nothing worse than Flying Crane technique just to deal with a flyer, but if we have to, we can. We'll draw our cards here. That's nice. Do I need 6 for anything? I'm not going to waste the Crane yet. I could just start attacking with the Horde Chief. Now I'm going to start getting other cards online. The question is, do I want it to be a Dazzling Rampart or a Mystic? I'm not the aggressor here, so just getting more defense is kind of nice, actually. The thing is, I can't block the Heartblade if black comes down, so I will just play the Mystic here. Love gaining that life the whole extra turn. I'll just play the Mystic face down so I can also keep Force Away available. So I'm currently not needing that unblockable 3 or whatever. Mystic's going to be blocking for a little bit. And I'd rather just be able to keep Force Away up for any scary shenanigans. Okay. For example, like a feat of resistance, should that happen. So keep up a bunch of our colored manas at dose. We can play the Ramparts and keep up Force Away next turn. Opponent's offering that block here, so I'll take it. Remember, I just want to go. I'm happy to make trades going late, even though I have the Flying Crane technique, which makes it better. Using one of my morph creatures to take out a flyer while I'm on the back pedal is fine. Mardu Horde Chief comes down. We still have blocks for that, and the Dazzling Ramparts is going to block that for days, so no need to worry about a Force Away there. All right. Opponent can hit me for 1. That's fine. 1 turn clock, I'm not worried about. And then the Dazzling Ramparts comes online after that. And we just need to draw into some of our powerhouse rares and develop our board so Flying Crane technique can finish the game. Here I'll actually block with the Ramparts over anything else. Might just be a triggering raid here. Ooh, 6? 5. Here's an Arrow Storm. I could Force Away, because I'm just going to be able to recast it, and I kind of just need the defense right now anyway. And I feel like this is really good against my opponent. See, I want to go ahead and do that. I'd rather take the Force Away for the Arrow Storm at this point, for such a key card. Wasted my opponent's entire turn. I want to know that that's what my opponent's doing. And we draw more land, which is fine. It's just not exciting. Opponent knows about that guy. I'll have 6 because my opponent only has a plains up. I'm not attacking. There's nothing my opponent can have. I'm worried about. Now we have 3 mana up, including Cancel Magic. Here's an Enoch Bonkin. That can start getting out of the hand. My opponent's starting to go wide here. We can get an Anthem effect. This guy can get the first strike scarily enough. So I definitely need to draw into something more relevant. It's nice to be able to tap down a creature, though. But right now the Rampart's doing all it needs to do in terms of just blocking that as an 0/7 on the ground. Well, so those 3 cards in hand. I'm assuming maybe stuck on black, since my opponent's had plenty of mana, but at the same time, my opponent's been tapping out. Opponent did do the Arrow Storm. Wasn't tapping out, but my opponent, is playing spells using mana, so we'll see. We'll see. 4 life we've gained from our lands, not irrelevant. Being at 15, I like much better than being at 11, especially against a warrior deck. I'm not sure it's a warrior deck. Could just be a white-red deck. Could be a Trumpet Blast deck, actually. Which is something I should pay attention to when it comes to all of that. If life gets dire, I guess the Flying Crane technique again can be used as a combat trick to eat something, but that just seems horrible. So my opponent go for some attacks, start pounding through 2 damage a turn? No. That makes me really think my opponent's stuck on mana in one way or another. Leaping Master. Okay. Since I have time, I'll just go ahead and do that, just for good form's sake. Also, in case I want to be doing that, my opponent doesn't need to showcase anything. I don't need to showcase my opponent anything that I'm not doing. That's just a good technique. Takes a little bit of time. Kind of annoying to have to click so much, but whatever. Good form, good form. Also looks like my opponent's thinking more than I am, so that's fine. I just need to draw some more creatures. 1,000 wins would make me happy. Especially because I could play my island, play 1,000 wins face down, and then be able to flip it up if my opponent tries to go for the alpha. So, you know, not the worst draw. Getting the Mantis Rider out would be great to start rocking the Air Assault. Savage Knuckleblade. I don't know if I would attack in necessarily, but I have tons of mana available. I have to count it out, but I could do a 4-mana Knuckleblade Haste guy. 1, 2, 3, 4. And still have activation for Bounce and Pump to make my opponent not be able to block very well. That's kind of cool. So yeah, those rares would be quite nice. Any of the rares, any of the rares. And just developing the board with a bunch of morphs so that Flying Crank technique can become a lethal card eventually. Windswept Heath. Meh. It's nothing because I have my forest and my plains already out. So that's just a dead draw. Let's see. My opponent can just start attacking with everything. I actually want the ramparts to block the Bonkin, which means I don't want to pay 2 to tap a creature like the Leaping Master to not bash through. So I'll be taking some hits from this Master in the near future. Hope that I don't continue to draw lands. Am I flooded or not? It's hard to tell when they're all spread out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Versus my opponent's 6. I did draw some cards in my Wii Fate, though. But yeah, that means I have 6 still in my deck of 21. So we're a little bit high on the land count. Alright, opponent's going into attacks. What does my opponent decide to do? Just attack with Leaping Master? I think that's fine. Because again, Dazzling Ramparts could just tap Leaping Master down, but then my opponent gets to attack with the Bonkin, so I'm getting a little bit more action, a little bit more value from the Dazzling Ramparts just being blocked. Despite the fact that I had to waste the Force away on the Aerostorm, I'm glad I chose to keep the Dazzling Ramparts, because it really is just saving a bunch of damage. I'm not entirely sure my opponent's not attacking with these guys also. Maybe just biding time, getting this Bonkin huge isn't the end of the world, I have to admit. Debilitating Injury. We'll kill the Leaping Master while it's possible. The Bonkin gets blocked by the Ramparts for at least a number more turns till we find better answers to it. Again, 1 mana. We'll just go ahead and F6 since nothing for white matters. All there is the Defiant Strike, which is a cycler, but I don't care. We'll keep our Windswept Heath as a bluff, a mana bluff, if you will. Another Bonkin, ouch. So these have to be dealt with eventually. So I need to draw some way to finish this game soon enough, since, yeah, my deck's done the first part it needed to do, which was just stay alive. Now I need to take over. Archer's okay. I'll go ahead and play it down as a morph, maybe get some extra value out of it. I don't need a lot of blue, or white, or black. We'll probably just unflip it end of turn, but maybe we'll get some surprise attack in. Do I want to use... Alright, so question. Do I want to use Dazzling Rampart's tap ability at the beginning of my opponent's combat step to tap down this Anok Bonkin? Keeps it from getting bigger if my opponent doesn't do it before attacks, which my opponent may not be thinking about. But is this Rampart holding anything else back besides the Anok Bonkin? Not really. My other blockers are better anyway. Alright, and my opponent is appropriately doing this before attacks, which means I'm just going to go ahead and in response... Well, my opponent can just respond to me by tapping the Bonkin anyway, so who cares? Yeah, my opponent's just going big here. That's fine. Gives us more time to eventually get there. It just means that the ramparts will eventually just be tapping on this Bonkin. Now we have another big old dude. Ooh, and Killshot is going to be also great on that front. But boy, oh boy, do I need to get something that gets me through this. And I got some flyers in the deck, don't I? Don't I? So that's my game plan. Opponent has more Outlast abilities. You know what? I could be actually on my opponent's upkeep. I could have thought this last 2 turns tapping my opponent by putting a stop on the upkeep draw or whatever, which might have been more appropriate and should have been done. So we'll do that on the next turn or two. But already this guy's gotten big enough to where it doesn't even matter. But I'm going to just inherently do that and not showcase the kill shot. Kill shot will probably take out the Bondkin, one of the other Bondkins, but yeah, I didn't realize that. I didn't consider. Well, again though, my opponent can just do it. But it's only as a sorcery? Yeah. So I could have done that actually. In response, I could have tapped down my opponent's second Bondkin, and since this is only a sorcery, my opponent can't respond as an instant with Outlast. So little things I'm kind of forgetting about Outlast that is making me not play the Rampart particularly well, which is normally odd this late in the format, having normally had most interactions, but with Dazzling Ramparts not being a 5-drop that I play that frequently, I haven't come up to this situation yet. Doesn't excuse poor play, just pointing out my learning curve. Ooh, Knuckleblade. Alright, we're going to attack with you. So, let's cast you first. And remember, I can give it haste and still be able to activate different abilities, so that's cool. In fact, all of their abilities. So, we're attacking with everything. If my opponent ends up having a kill shot of his or her own, we'll just bounce it to my hand. But this is a great way to have a bunch of mana to make this guy good. Should start getting us there. Ideally, I just attack and then leave up at least 2 mana. Yeah, I just attack. My opponent like chumps or something, and I just let that happen. And then I got to keep up kill shot, activations, and tapping. I can't do all of that, right? 1, 2. This Crag's gone. I have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I only have 6 mana up, so I can kill shot or bounce or do that and do 2 of those 3. But oh, that's fantastic. Give the guy haste. And then move into combat. Attacking. What you got for me, honey? Nothing. Kill. I'm very okay with that. I'm not activating its ability to make more damage, even though my opponent's at 18, so it would give me an extra turn on the clock, but I'd rather be able to keep Dazzling Ramparts online and the kill shot. I'm just going to tap down the Enoch Bondkin, the 7/6 Enoch Bondkin, with the Dazzling Ramparts. The other guys block still well, and I have a kill shot available. Summit Prowler, it's a guy that can start training the Knuckleblade Ishii. Ooh, what's my opponent have? A feeder resistance. Alright. Doing a feeder resistance to get a huge amount of damage. I'd have to put the Sagu Archer in front in order to make that relevant, but my opponent... Oh, and his protection from Wyatt, so I can't kill shot. So what my opponent doesn't know is my kill shot in hand. Which is okay, but not great. I mean, I'm taking 8 damage here. I think I just go ahead and kill shot the Enoch Bondkin right now. I kind of like just double blocking the Mardu Horde Chief and then kill shotting the Enoch Bondkin. Gets 2 creatures off the table. I do take 8. I go down to 5. But that should be fine. I'm going to have enough of my own pressure on the backswing. Yeah, let's do that. I assume there's not a second feeder resistance. It's going to be a third for my opponent. That's pretty nutty. Those are the blocks. Would love to kill 8/7, but protection from white. Does put me in Aerostorm range, which is scary. It means I want another dual land. Get me out of that range. Dual land? Oh, Sage Eye here. So yeah, my opponent attacks and just Aerostorm me out. That would be a bummer. Do I attack with the Savage Knuckleblade? Yeah, I want pressure on my opponent. And my opponent can't really do anything. 4, 5, 6. Knuckleblade could pump and wipe the board, and I'd actually be okay with that, to be honest. And my opponent doesn't know what else I have, so that's cool. Question is, do I have a kill attack here with Flying Crane technique? Opponent only has 2 mana, clearly didn't have anything to deal with that. So if this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, yeah, we just kill my opponent right now. Let's do it. Blue, white, red. I do want to be able to recast some things. I don't have anything that needs black, so we'll go there, there, and then I have plenty of this stuff. Yeah. Dead? Dead! Yay! Flying Crane technique. We had you in hand forever. Finally was patient. Was able to get in that kill at long last. Sweet. Moving on to the second game of this particular round. Actually, I'm a little worried about my opponent's aggression here. Brave the Sands is an option if I feel like I have time to cast it. Do I? Just being able to like put opponent pressure back on my opponent while blocking is kind of nice. Means my opponent like can't particularly erase me all the way and just like whittle down my life while I do nothing. But I'm only bringing that in if there's something bad against my opponent. All my creatures are really nice. Just using all of my morphs just to trade around. Force Away seems kind of weak on the wide game plan. Helped save my Dazzling Ramparts, which was key there, but it's also just because of my awkward draw. Yeah, I think the Force Away is just going to be a little weak. No, because there are those multiple feeder resistance. So those are actually, the Force Away is really good. We can get my opponent to like just waste a feeder resistance, which is fine. Yeah, I'm not going to bring in Brave the Sands. We're just going to keep the deck the way it is. Brave the Sands is a bad card. And I'm not familiar enough with it to really know how I want to be playing it. I just have an intuition feeling that it could work out. Let's look at this hand. A little bit sketchy, but we have some nice defense, and since we can cast the Student early, the Debilitating Injury to kill something, and then eventually get the hard... I mean, yeah, this is a keep for sure. We don't need much to make this hand hum. It could be awkward. My opponent gets a super quick draw, but already that's not the case, so that's great. And a third land gets us casting almost everything in our hand, and we'll get to fourth for when we want Utter End to be against a relevant, more and powerful enough spell. For now, we'll just develop the mana base and probably Debilitating Injury, the Leaping Master, since those flyers are annoying. Bondkins and whatnot are also annoying, but that's okay. We just want to kill things early. Well, I guess we're not gonna... I mean, I was gonna injure because I assumed there was something else being played. Maybe another dork or something, but with feeder resistance up, no thanks. I'll just go ahead and rock out the Jeskai Student, which blocks the Leaping Master all day. And if a feeder resistance comes down, Leaping Master and Jeskai Student trade, which I'm cool with, and then the Debilitating Injury takes out the feat, as in, you know, it might take this guy out, but it's like a 2 for 2 in that regard. Opponent obviously not attacking. Summit Prowler, a little bit annoying, but we do have perfect mana for our Mardu Charm and our Kill Shot, our Debilitating Injury. So really, question is, can I get a 2 for 1 out of that? I guess we just keep the Jeskai Student black back to... I think we're just going to Mardu Charm the Summit Prowler right now instead of progressing our board, because that's a big card and we don't want to take damage. And I'd rather wait and just use our 3 removal spells and then keep up the Utter End to let my opponent run out of gas. So if that's the case, I'm F6ing. Pretty clutch that I get to cast all of these removal spells. I'm actually okay if my opponent wants to use a feeder resistance against me with the Summit Prowler. I am going to take 5 that way. Sorry, with a kill shot. I'm going to do the kill shot, but if my opponent does that, then I can follow up with the Martyr Charm on my turn and kill the Summit Prowler. But for now, I want to try using this kill shot to get cards out of my opponent's hand. So here we'll feign a little bit. Feat of resistance. Yep. Bummer. But no, we planned on that, silly goose. We planned on that all the way. Now, second feat resistance could get problematic, but, you know, it just means you have to use a bunch of 1/4s we don't want to do. Ooh, Flying Crane technique. Cool beans. We want black. We want red. We want white, and we want you dead. I rhymed, and it was awesome. I could throw in the attack here. Second feat. It would suck, because I'm going to take 6 from it then on the following turn. I just can't imagine. What, really? Yeah? Yeah, second feat of resistance. Okay. I feel like that was pretty unlikely, so I was down with this game plan. If I knew my opponent had 2 feats, then I could have just Mardu Charm after my opponent played the Summit Prowler. But that didn't happen. I was going to say I could attack because my Jessica Student gets to get in now, but I'd rather just keep it back so my opponent has to either dump mana to do 8 damage to me or go ahead and just not attack me. I do definitely need my 4th land now, because in a couple turns, this guy's going to get out of hand. And now I'm really getting far behind, because I need to deal with the Summit Prowler, which sucks. So that double feat is going to really cost. Nice to have this guy. Since I can't do the Utter End now, I get to decide, do I want to try to attack him with Jeskai Wind Student? That's silly. My opponent can just double block and not really matter a whole lot. Pretty sure we're just going to Debilitating Injury, the Leaping Master, to take some pressure off. We have to take another 6, but then Utter End will do it. The problem is Arrow Storm is definitely a thing. Alas, I think I'm just priced into this right now. Not priced. I think it's just the best play to get my opponent off what's here. But if I take 6, I'm down to 5, then my opponent can just Arrow Storm me out of the game. But I think it's right still just to kill the Leaping Master and hope my opponent doesn't have every just like possible way of hosing my game plans, like, you know, the double feat and an Arrow Storm. But I did see Arrow Storm for my opponent last game, so we're playing on edge here. I do have, what is it? I have 8 life gain spells, so I have 4 more lands to help me get out of it. Oh, but Active Treason sucks. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can my opponent pump the Jeskai Student? No, so I'm barely alive. My opponent has 3 lethal creatures. So I need to draw a life gain land. Didn't get it. If I had drawn the life gain, I'd be out of range. I could kill a Summit Prowler and still block. I can't play 2 of my creatures, can I? No, because they all cost 3. Even the morph dudes. So if I attack with just the student, I could play the Horde Chief, but I'm still dead to 1. So right now we're just keeping up the Utter End and seeing if my opponent wants to do anything about it. Alright. I didn't respect the double feat. I don't know if that's right or not at this point. Like I said, it's pretty unlikely that there was that double feat in hand. We know my opponent had double feat, but having drawn both is hard to, you know, predict. But it could have been better I'm trying to decide if in that moment when I could have done the Mardu charm against my opponent's Summer Prowler while my opponent was tapped out was right or not. I knew I needed to kill it, but I was also kind of down to like try a kill shot for a feat, then kill a Summer Prowler, still have Utter End up back up. Like that just seemed like appropriate to me. Good to know also active treason. I'm back with the same deck. I don't want to bring in that Brave the Sands. I'm definitely going to play first, despite that I love drawing in this deck, but I can't let my opponent have the play. Gotta give my opponent the draw there. So, definitely yes. Ooh, this sucks. We have no morphs. We have a Force Away. One land gets us Wind Scout, but then we're stuck with these guys. The thing is, I don't feel like I can mulligan against my opponent. I just hate mulliganing this format, especially when I'm doing 5 colors where I need so many lands, but unfortunately, this has to be a mulligan. This is a little bit better. If we get to 5 mana, which, I mean, we have 18 lands, we should be able to get to, we'll get good. And we can play our Utter End, so I'll keep this. I'm not excited for it, but we'll keep it. Let's go Bloodfell Caves. Let's get our black on. Opponent mulled 2, so that's kind of, you know, not super down. Still, I want 5 lands. Hey. Alright. Still not with a lot of protection against my opponent, considering the 2 feats that make this Utter End not awesome. But getting life is good, and getting close to our massive 5-drops is good, and these are great defenders here. So if my opponent mull, there may not be a super strong, quick, aggressive 2-drop. That's my hope. And top deck, sweet, sweet action. Right now we have we have our 4 colors. We're just missing green, so that's also nice. We gain our life. We pass the turn. We F6 on my opponent's turn. Ooh, opponent does have a 2-drop. Alrighty. Well, we don't have anything to do, so... I mean, hitting 5 lands is okay, since, I mean, I get to cast my spells. But let's see how far behind we get. Nice that it's Double Mountain. You know, there's no white for my opponent, so... maybe that's all we get. My opponent misses another creature on turn 3. Not too sure. I see him seeing active treason in these colors. This is a Trumpet Blast deck, by the way, so I'm paying attention to that a whole lot. I don't ever want to get a place where Trumpet Blast or Aerostorm just burn me out. Trumpet Blast kind of burning, I mean, it's damage, but you know what I mean. Those are scary red cards in this matchup. Alright, on to my opponent's turn. Attack me for 2. Yes. Has the plains, that's scary. It means easily a 3-drop here. Could be the war name Aspirant, and there'd be a 3/2 on the table, which is less impressive at 3, but still, against my hand, very good. Which means if my opponent taps out, I'm just going to Utter End anything, since I need to use up my mana. My opponent doesn't tap out, and actually doesn't play creature, which is still good for me. And we just drew a fantastic card. So I'm feeling a lot more optimistic in this very moment, because I get to use my mana to draw cards, and then we'll start pounding out some amazing 5-drops that really slow my opponent down. And we'll just have to wait and use Utter End when my opponent doesn't have 2 mana up. Yep, we take 2. If this is the Yeti, maybe I use the Utter End now. Is it called the Yeti? No, it's a Marty Hortshave. Alright, now. We'll just go ahead and we fade. In fact, I'll just do that now, because why not? Draw our cards. Nothing that those planes matters. Let my opponent get all that action online. We drew a bunch more lands. Opponent gets to just pound out a bunch of creatures, so Trumpet Blast gets scary. But we're just going to rock out a Rotting Mastodon and start blocking our little hearts out here. Since that blocks and kills so many things. And we'll just keep developing the board. Opponent can still hit us for 2 a turn by using 3 mana on the Leaping Master. which at 3 cards in hand, that starts to be an issue, but with a Monastery Flock in the near future, we're not super worried. Yep. As anticipated, there we go. Another Leaping Master. Alright, do I need 6 mana? We're still taking 2 a turn. I think we just play the Monastery Flock face down, or face up. I don't like it, because I can do, like, 5 mana now with the Dazzling Ramparts. Take 4. The Utter End I can play with the Monastery Flock on the following turn, which is a good, efficient use of mana. So, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and take the turn to continue the ground defense with Dazzling Ramparts, get another life gain. And then next turn, we'll be able to do the Monastery Flock and Utter End if my opponent taps out or leaves out that opportunity. But my opponent's getting to the point where there's enough mana available where that's not the case. But this Monastery Flock allows us still to slow the game down enough to where it's relevant. So both these guys just start getting flying, mayhaps. Which is worrisome. But now Utter End and Monastery Flock will be great. We're just drawing lands, which is a bummer, but whatever. Opponent's gotta be happy that I'm Utter Ending a Leaping Master, but just want to stay alive. Just want to stay alive. Alright, D&D. Ooh, so there is black mana in my opponent's deck, which means this Hateblade might trade with a Rotting Mastodon, which is a huge upgrade. Very nice upgrade. Could just let the Dazzling Rampart block the Mardu Hateblade a bunch. Opponent might have something to get this Monastery Flock dead, but whatever. I mean, I'm making that block for sure. No. Force Away. That'll be pretty fantastic. But right now, it's just hang out, relax. We're going to use that against a feat or something. I think I'm just going to tap the Mardu Hateblade at beginning of combat. Plenty of mana. My Mastodon can block the other dudes. Ooh, Butcher of the Horde. That's going to be a little bit scary. It's going to get a Dazzling Rampart tap, that's for sure. Vigilance, Lifelink, or Haste until end of turn. Right now, we don't have to worry about it. I would only tap it if my opponent actually did a sacrifice, which I can do in response. And the Hateblade can't get Death Touch now, so there's no need to tap it at the moment. Interesting. Going in with stuff. So my opponent's just triggering Raid at this point, I presume. There's nothing that gets through that, so that's just a Raid trigger. What else you got? Mardu Horde. Okay. There's really no reason to have done that. You kind of get it back anyway, but maybe you get a free attack in. I don't know. I got green. Oh, a bit worried here. So, Dazzling Rampart's always blocking the Butcher. Always and ever. With Force Away being able to take out something. Goodbye, Butcher. You are tapped. This Mardu Hateblade is going to be pinging me away. My opponent could attack with other things as well and be pinging. I'm fine with a turn from the Hateblade. That's very okay. Need to draw not lands. I did want those 5. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad you got me there, lands. Ooh, Arrow Storm, taking out the Monastery Flock. Do I need to force that away to save it? To keep the Leaping Master available? My opponent's out of cards. I'm going to force it away. The thing is, oh man, that off the top feeder resistance is so good, but the Monastery Flock's doing tons of work keeping me alive. Mantis Rider, that's really good too. We'll play all of this out, I think. Blue, red, white. Get us an attack in, and we got to keep up our Dazzling Rampart for tapping. Might be able to put some pressure on my opponent here. But I need to find some more power to be able to deal with the Butcher. A feeder resistance just gets me so hard. Because I'm so low in life that the Butcher can just get protection from, like, you know, blue or white and just pound through. For 6. Oy. And then here, could be protection white, doesn't actually tap, and then I'd have to chump the Monastery Flock. My opponent is at 2 minutes. I'm pretty sure this game will be resolved by then, but that's an interesting thing to note at the moment if my opponent plays slow enough. Ooh, no, opponent's going for it. Okay. How does this work? Do I lose to Trumpet Blast? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, the lowest ones. 3, 4, 5, 6. Not necessarily. But a feeder resistance, if I block incorrectly, can be devastating. So the Riding Mastodon's going for the Leaping Master. That's one of the ones that I know I want dead, right? Right. You go there. Hate Blade's getting through. You're gotten through. Done and done. If I put my Mantis Rider in front of the Mardu, it dies, of course, to the feeder resistance, which we've seen. I take 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm alive. But if there's a Trumpet Blast, I take 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm dead anyway. But the Monastery Flock's going in front of something, including a Mardu Horde Chief, so actually we're good there. Mantis Rider doesn't die to feeder resistance on the Warrior. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm down to 1 if it's a Trumpet Blast. So, Mantis Rider's going in front of the Warrior. That plays around feet as well as Trumpet Blast. I do take 3 down 5, which sucks, and Arrow Storm then kills me. But we've seen that one Arrow Storm, and there's more likely a feeder resistance happening here. Just because we've seen 2 in my opponent's deck. Arrow Storm? Shit, that's an Arrow Storm, alright. Alright, well, GG's, friend. GG's. Well, gotta admit, that was a bummer. Let's see. Could we have gotten out of this? It would have been really rough. If my opponent didn't have that as like a feat or something, I would have been down to 5. Possibly 6 if my opponent chose to like really pressure it. Opponent would have to whiff, which would have been 2 whiffs in a row. And then Mardu Charm could have got us there. Alright. Yeah. But that was not the case. That was not the case at all. I do love this deck. It's my favorite deck, the 5-color deck. I don't know if it's particularly right to rock and roll it, but I wanted to, and it's Thanksgiving, so I'm going to do what I want on my holiday. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Always appreciate it. Let me know if you think there was a better deck to have drafted in that format, or in that particular seat in the draft. And obviously, I always need help with my gameplay, which is kind of the whole point of these videos, is to help me rewatch, learn, and help you guys, or to have you guys help me figure that out. So, enjoy the rest of the Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy the rest of your lives. I'm Ryan from Mana Bluff. Comment, subscribe, like on YouTube. Comment on manabluff.com. I promise to respond. Or find me on Twitter, __RJH__. See you next week. Peace.